Welcome to Eagle Spire Gaming. I'm your host, Crown, and today is April 10th, and we have some very exciting news as Games Workshop has dropped the first, it's the first because there's going to be more, FAQ and errata for Legions Imperialis. I guess they have done one before in the past where they changed engine killer. This one's like a big one like that actually fixes a bunch of stuff. And I haven't looked at it yet. I just got off work. I just got off one shift of work. I have to go back in about an hour and a half. So I'm going to try to do this real quick because we're going to go through them all and we're going to try to go through them all. I don't know how many there are. I'm going to give you my reaction, and I don't know how to have this screen and split screen and everything. So I'm just going to edit it after the fact and I'm going to look at it and then I'll add the thing. Maybe it matches. Yeah. But I'm low on time, haven't looked at these yet, and we're just going to do it. We're just going to drop it. I did go to the page to look at them, and there are 5 things that they have, they've edited. They've updated the Mechanicum army cards. They've upgraded the Great Slaughter army cards, but not, which is probably going to include some of both factions of Solar Auxiliary and Astartes Legions, but it doesn't include all the army cards prior to that. They upgraded the Great Slaughter, the rulebook, the base book, and the Rise of the Dark Mechanicum. So they didn't touch the Devastation of Talarn, is what this looks like, unless I'm missing something. The Devastation of Talarn, that really just had a bunch of tanks and stuff in it, tanks and support and things. But all right, so we're just gonna start with let's start with the rulebook, the base rulebook. And the first change, I'm not going to read all this stuff at the top there. So newly updated entries will be highlighted in blue, while entirely new additions will be highlighted in magenta. So there's an entirely new addition to march orders. Change this order to each model within a detachment issued with the march order may move up to a number of inches equal to twice its movement characteristic. What? Okay, yeah, no, that's normal. And then infantry gets 3 times, right? Models in a detachment issued a march order may not fire during the first fire or advancing fire stages of the combat phase. What changed? Oh, is this just saying that's all that a march order does and that there's no part about vehicles move? It used to be vehicles move 2 times movement characteristic and infantry move 3 times. Is this just saying, I think this is saying that vehicles are now just 2, not vehicles, everything's just twice. Okay, cool. That changes a lot for infantry. Nerfs them, right? Which is good. They needed to be nerfed. They're very powerful. Makes them slower than vehicles, because it used to be that if a vehicle marches and an infantry marches, the infantry is faster than the vehicle. But if they just move, the vehicle's faster than the infantry. Now, infantry are only going to be faster in the fact that they can move through buildings and vehicles can't. So that's cool. And it means that there's more value to having transports. I like that. Movement, change the last paragraph to a move characteristic of blank, dash means models in the detachment can't move, can't embark or disembark from a transport. So you just can't put them in a transport. And the characteristic cannot be modified in any way. If such a model is required to withdraw from a combat, it is destroyed. Ooh, I don't think that was previously a thing. I like it. I like it. Awesome. So, yeah, okay. Can't get into transports. What about buildings? Advancing, I'm going to try to read faster. Sorry, guys. Advancing fire stage, we're going to now change the second sentence of the 3rd paragraph to the following. All detachments issued with an advance order must be activated in this stage, though they can be activated and do nothing. So you do have to activate them. You have to activate them, but you don't have to do anything. That's not a big deal. Okay. I think that I was doing that anyway. Resolve hits. Change the first sentence of the 3rd paragraph to model can only be allocated a hit if it is an eligible target for a model in the firing detachment. In most instances, this means the allocated model must be in range and line of sight from a firing model. I don't know if that was... Okay. Garrisoning structures. Add the following paragraph. Add the following after the second sentence of the second paragraph. The detachment can garrison a structure if this would bring it within the engagement zone of an enemy model, but not if it would cause them to become engaged. A detachment can garrison a structure if this would bring it within the engagement zone of an enemy model, which is 1 inch, right? But not if it would cause them to become engaged. Okay, so you can't... This clarifies the question of, and I used to say that they could do it. This now says you can't garrison a structure if it causes you to be engaged. Engagement zone is 1 inch. Engaged is base to base. So that's important. Engaging garrison structure. Change the third sentence to say infantry models in base-to-base contact with the structure count as engaged with all enemy detachments garrisoned in the structure. I think that's probably just changing something with vehicles used to be able to engage. I don't know. Walkers maybe? I'm not sure. Burrowing. Add the following sentence to the end of this trait. Weapons with a burrowing trait cannot target flyers. Okay, that makes sense. We're not going to... and there's engine killer. That was like we had said. All right. More. Quake. Change this trait to if one or more hits are scored against a detachment by a weapon with the Quake trait, the next time that detachment moves, have the movement character. The next time. And it used to be until end of turn. The next time a detachment fires, subtract 1 from the result of any hit rolls the detachment makes. I like that. I like that because if they've already shot this turn, they subtract 1 from the hit rolls next turn instead. Ooh, that's spicy. Which means it would be a good unit to use Overwatch on because you're already going to take a penalty. This trait is ignored if all hits scored by a weapon with this trait are allocated to a target's void shields, of course. Shock Pulse. Change. Ooh, Shock Pulse. If one or more hits are targeted against a vehicle, Super Heavy, Knight, or Titan by a weapon with the Shock Pulse trait, the next time that detachment moves, have the movement characteristic of all models within that detachment. I don't know, did it originally have movement? And the next time that detachment fires, it can only fire with a maximum of 1 weapon. I don't know if that gets rid of... honestly, I might have been using Shock Pulse wrong. I remember the part about the 1 weapon, but and it used to be that turn. So now it's the next turn also, just like Quake. Skyfire. Change the last sentence, second paragraph to all Skyfire weapons in a detachment firing at a secondary target must target the same detachment unless another rule overrides this. I think... Oh, man. See, I have to look at the rule to see the rest of it, but I think this is saying that when you Skyfire, Skyfire is like a split fire, but every gun that's Skyfire, so every gun that's point defense, has to shoot at the secondary target. I think that's saying the same thing. I think that's what that's doing. Because there was an argument that it didn't force you to do it and it chose. I'm not really sure. I can't remember exactly the wording on everything. Warp is still a thing. Automated sentries. We are now models in a detachment with a special rule have a tactical strength of 0 and cannot be modified in any way. So automated sentries no longer score. Deep strike. We are changing the 4th sentence of the second paragraph to if the model scatters off the battlefield. Oh, we were just arguing. There was just conversation about this, and this is at the bottom of the page, so I don't know what the answer is yet. There's just conversation about this, yesterday or the day before, where I suggested that there was a couple of different options for how you could do this, but none of them are supported by the book because the book really didn't say what it was. And somebody else had pointed that out. I just brought up that there were options. So scatters off the battlefield, an area of impassable terrain, or onto a structure, then that model and the model's detachment are destroyed. So off the table is destroyed. that just like the old 3rd edition, probably through 7th edition, I'm not exactly sure when that stopped being the case because scattering doesn't happen as much anymore, I don't think at all, for 40k. Add the following additional paragraph: an Overwatch called against a detachment that has Deep Strike is resolved after all models have been set up and all other effects of that Deep Strike have been resolved, including disembarking from models with the Transport X special rule and the effects of Orbital Assault special rule. And what there was question of is, can I overwatch the drop pods before the people get out? And this is saying, no, drop pods come in, they disembark, then you can overwatch. So you can't kill the guys while they're still, you can't kill the pods while there's still people in them. Drop pod. Speak of the devil. Add the following additional paragraph. Models in a detachment with this special rule have a tactical strength of 0 and cannot be modified in any way. So the drop pods themselves. Okay. Flyer. Add the following to the end of the 3rd paragraph. Models with a flyer special rule cannot call Overwatch during the movement phase. Oh! So what you would do, what you could do, and I think we did this actually, I think I did this against Master Chief, is I bring my flyers in, and then you bring your flyers in, and I could overwatch them before they could intercept me. Or they could intercept me, and then I could bring, just, if I brought in a bomber that didn't have the range, and then you intercept me, and then I bring in my 2nd bomber, and then you overwatch me, and yeah, you've done all your shooting, but you just killed 2 of my units before they ever even did anything. I guess the 1st bomber would have gotten the drop bombs, but not the point. Forward deployment. Change the first sentence to, after both players have deployed their armies, including infiltrating detachments, but before the first round of the battle, if all models in a detachment have the forward deployment special rule, the detachment may make a special move. I don't know what that's saying. After both players have deployed, including infiltrating. Oh, okay, so this is saying it happens after the infiltrating. Got it. And they don't have to make the special movement. Okay. Infiltrate. Add the following additional sentence. A detachment that is deployed in this way cannot be issued a charge order during the first round. So all the people who wanted armies of nothing but pioneer companies infiltrating onto the table. Cool, you have infiltrated, and now you are just stuck there, not able to charge me. Nice. Which does mean that infiltrating with a gun is better. You're still up the board, right? Like, it's still good. It's just you can't charge the first round. So you got to set up to be able to charge. You got to position yourself to charge the second round. Master Tactician. Change the first and second sentence to... how much... we're almost done with this one. We're halfway through. Well, this is the last one of halfway through. Last one of this page. A detachment that contains one or more models with this special rule may issue a command when it is activated. If the controlling player chooses to do so, they may select. It's nice that they said they instead of he. There are ladies that play this game. They just don't watch this channel, according to YouTube at least. If the controlling player chooses to do so, they may select one other friendly detachment that has yet to be activated this round. I am bad at reading. Okay, and is within 6... It's one other detachment instead of... So the question was, is any detachment one or all? And they have clarified it is one. And I don't think they're clarifying that any always meant one. It could have meant all at one point in time. They have decided to lessen it, right? We won't really know the truth of that, but either or, who cares? One is fine. Master Tactician, still a good ability. And is within 6 inches of one or more models with this special rule that are being activated. So when you activate, you then can choose to select another detachment that is within 6 inches of you. And the selected detachment's order token is discarded and replaced with a different order. They were eligible to be issued during the order phase of this round. So it's no longer, there was also a question of, can you issue models that get out of a transport charge orders? And this is saying no, you can't, because they weren't able to do that at the beginning. So nice clarification there. That stinks for trying to charge out of transports. But you gotta march. You get out of your transport. You gotta take up a defensive position, and then you gotta then make the in the subsequent turn you make that decision. Hey, this is where we're charging. This is where we're going. Hey, set up to fire on this position. That's how a transport works, unless it's an assault transport, and then you can charge out right away, and that's gonna buff those assault transports. So good. I like seeing things buffed in ways by just providing a little bit of limitation to things that shouldn't have been able to do what they were necessarily doing. I honestly haven't used Master Tactician except for a couple of times. Changed orders to march orders, which are infantry. Give some infantry some march orders so they can go and resecure a position, and now they can't run as far. So, but that's cool. Transport X, third page. Add the following to the end of the first paragraph. Models can only embark into transport models from the same army list. I'm assuming that means that Ogren can't get into... I'm assuming that means Ogren can't get into Thunderhawks, which was another thing that I saw that I was very adamant that they should not be allowed to do. Breakthrough. Oh, and now we're changing... I think Breakthrough is one of the missions, so now we're changing some of the missions. Cool. At the start of the first round, before any order tokens are placed, the player with this secondary objective secretly notes down up to 5 friendly detachments that are either deployed on the battlefield or embarked within a transport. That is to... Honestly, I don't remember what Breakthrough was exactly, so I don't know what this is changing necessarily. I know that you... Like, maybe you couldn't do it to a unit that was in a transport. I don't know. These guys are carrying supplies. I don't know. I don't remember. I don't think I've used that one yet. I've only used a couple of them. Because a bunch of our games were just kill everything. The Storm Eagle Squadron weapons are not a... completely removed Tempest rockets. That was a change from previous, I guess, because it's in black. But I guess they don't have Tempest rockets. I honestly wasn't tracking on that. Ultramarines, interlocking tactics. Change first sentence to, an Ultramarine model may re-roll any hit rolls of 1 when firing upon an enemy detachment that has already had 1 or more hits scored against it this round by an Ultramarine model from a different detachment in the same formation as the firing model. I thought everything about that sounds like what it used to be, so I'm not entirely sure. That might be fixing something, some minor thing that could have caused confusion, but it never confused me, I guess. I don't know. Ward Bearers, True Believers, first sentence, change that to detachments within Ward Bearers formation never count as broken for the purpose of being issued an order. They can be issued any order they normally could instead of just the advance order or charge order. Does that get rid of... Correct me if I'm wrong. I thought they also had... No, it's not getting rid of it, probably, because it's probably in another order. I don't know what that's changing for them. I thought that was what they already had. They could just always use their orders, and I think they also don't get affected by the Dread aura. I'm not... I think that's what they have. Alpha Legion, Mutable Tactics. Ooh, let's see. At the start of the battle, before any detachments are deployed... For each formation in an army made up entirely of Alpha Legion detachments, ignoring allied contingents, so you can't have any other Space Marines, but you could have allied contingents, and I don't think that was clarified originally. The controlling player may select up to 3 Alpha Legion detachments from the army to be affected by mutable tactics. I'm pretty sure originally, I don't think that they mentioned ignoring allied contingents, so it's nice that they now do. I'm pretty sure that's the change there. And we got an FAQ. So, are engaged and engaged in pinned detachments issued orders as normal? Yes. Yes, always. I knew that. They had to be. And I used that. I used that to issue orders. I was issuing orders to my automata in the hopes that they would break free and be able to attack afterwards. I guess there was confusion about that. If an engaged and pinned detachment makes a pile-in move while issued a charge order, and that's how you would do that. You would need to be issued, you would issue them orders. In order to make pile-in movements, you had to give them some orders in subsequent rounds. Do models that were not in base-to-base contact still gain the bonus to fight rolls if they moved more than 1 inch? Yes, and that's what I thought. Does a detachment that is on the losing side in a combat and fails a morale check receive a fallback order in addition to making a withdrawal move? No. And that was also discussion that was happening. Heated topics. It's good to see these heated things getting addressed. These other ones I didn't know about. Or maybe I forgot about? I don't know. If a detachment with a movement characteristic of 0 or dash is not within detachment coherency, can it move in order to avoid models being destroyed? No. No, you have no movement. If you can't move, you can't move. If a structure is within range of an objective marker, are all models garrisoned in that structure treated as being within range of that objective marker? Yes. Cool. There was concern about that. Can you garrison a building and still take the and still hold an objective? And the answer is yes. I like it. I want to know if maybe this is it. If a structure collapses, can surviving garrison models be placed in a position where they are engaged with enemy models? No. Okay. So I want to know if can Battlesmith work from within a garrison? Can Master Tactician work from within a garrison? I'm assuming yes. I don't know if there's even a question about that. And it should be yes based on that and just based on the fact that the building counts as your base. When firing a weapon with a firestorm trait at a structure, is every model garrisoning the structure hit? Yes. Do you have to get 50% of the building? I'm assuming you still have to get 50% of the building. Yeah. I'm going to have to look up that some more. If a detachment with the automated sentry, I feel like that needed to not be a yes or no answer. I feel like there's a little bit more to that. Because when firing a firestorm at a structure, when firing Firestorm, you roll to see if people are hit if they're less than 50% hit. So do I need to just hit the building or do I need to get 50%? Are they hit or are they potentially hit? And I still need to roll to hit because you're supposed to roll to hit with those still. Firestorm weapons still require a roll to hit. They're not automatic hits. So this is just, I feel like that FAQ actually needs a little bit more words. That question needs a little bit more work on it. If a detachment with the automated sentry special rule has another model assigned or attached to it, oh, they were talking about this, such as by use of commander special rule, can that detachment be issued an order? No. Okay, that wasn't what I thought it was, but good to know that you don't issue them an order. Weird that you can even attach commanders to them. What is the commander doing? Hey, Lieutenant. Hey, Captain. Hey, high-ranking officer. Your job is to stand here next to these machines that do all the work and don't require you to tell them anything. They just work. So he literally just sits there until eventually they lose melee combat. They can't move and are destroyed. He can run away if they lose, which they will lose because they're a bunch of automated sentries. Detachments in the automated sentry special rule cannot be issued orders. Does this mean they will automatically be issued an advance order when activated as per the normal? No, you don't issue them an order. You give them, what you do is you put an advance order down just so that you know that they haven't shot yet. Just so then you take that away once they shoot. That's how I do it. If a detachment has dedicated transports, is it required to be deployed or arrive from reserves embarked upon them? No. Somebody used that in 3rd edition. No, not 3rd, probably like 5th or 6th edition to tell me that my transports had to deploy empty so that I could have half of my units on the board at the start of the game. That he tried using something like that to say that. It was horrible. I'll never play that guy again. Last page. Is The limit on number of is the limit on number of legate commanders permitted in a solar auxiliary army based on the total agreed points of the limit of the battle, rather than the total points of the value of detachments in that player's army. Yes, it's the agreed. So if you don't want your opponent to have 2 legate commanders, agree to a 2,999 point army. Do detachments or models that do not count when calculating the breakpoint of a formation? Ooh, here's another heated one. So they don't count when calculating models that don't count when calculating the breakpoint of a formation, such as dedicated transports or automated sentries or drop pods, which are not always dedicated transports. Do they count towards reaching the breakpoint of their formation when destroyed? Yes. Okay. And there was concerns about that one. And I didn't like it, but I'm okay with it now. If a detachment in a broken formation is on the losing side in a combat and is forced to make a morale check, is the result reduced by 1 as per the rules for broken formations, in addition to rolling 2 dice and taking the lowest as stated under determined combat result? Yes. That's how I was doing it. Is the penalty to hit rolls imposed when firing at a detachment in dangerous terrain cumulative with the penalties to hit rolls imposed by other terrain types? Yes. Also probably cumulative to firing Overwatch too. When a model with a variant of the Transport X special rule is destroyed during Overwatch, are transported detachments placed within 2 inches of the destroyed model at the point in its move where the opponent chose to resolve the Overwatch attacks? No. And I really thought it was the other way around. Designer's note: when moving a detachment, players should establish at the start and end of a move first. Then once the line of movement of each model from the start point to end point has been determined, the opponent can select at which point along this line of movement the Overwatch will take place. Regardless of the point along the line of movement that the Overwatch takes place, players should assume that the move is completed before any destroyed models are removed. And if that model has the Transport X special rule, any transported models can still be placed in detachment coherency with the rest of their detachment. So, that ruling is not conductive towards what would happen in reality, right? At the point of firing, at the point of Overwatch, at the point of ambush, when I destroy your vehicle, it is destroyed there. It doesn't finish moving. Sometimes it finishes moving. Sometimes it continues moving until something stops it, right? But if I blow it up properly, if I really detonate this thing, it stops there, right? And maybe it flies up a little bit, but that wasn't the intended direction. However, for the purposes of a game, so I would have originally said, no, this needs to happen in this other way, right? For the purposes of a game, the designer has decided that this is the simplest way to allow the players to continue playing and not have to stop and figure everything out and decide, how do I want to do this? How do I want to go about this? So they decided this was the best way, and I'm okay with that. And that's how I'll play it. If a detachment has dedicated transport, can another model which joins the detachment through a special rule, such as commander, also embark upon one of those dedicated transports, assuming there's sufficient transport capacity? Yes. So you don't have to take... so for most of Space Marine stuff, you're going to... Because it's all a bunch of... So for Rhinos, right? Because it's Transport 2, that's what you're... All the dedicated transports, or most of the dedicated... A bunch of dedicated transports are going to be Transport 2, right? So they're going to transport the entire detachment, and there's not going to be space for the commander to get in, so he'll need to get a separate transport. But if you look at, if you go with some Solar Auxiliary stuff, you can have 2 Dracosins, right, and a unit of 6 guys, and there's 2 spots left over, and the commander can get in there. I like that. I don't know if I was aware that that could have been an issue. I wasn't playing it like it was an issue, I know that much. Can a flyer with the hover special rule that enters the battlefield from reserve replace the flyer special rule with the skimmer rule when it is placed on the battlefield? No, you have to wait until they do When is it? I think at the end of the turn or something. I don't have any of them yet, so I haven't paid attention to that. Can special rules with which require a detachment to be in a certain distance of another detachment, such as Inspire X, take effect while the detachment or model with that special rule is embarked on a transport? No. I actually just brought that up. So does it still work when they're in a building? That doesn't say building. Can special rules which require a detachment to be within a certain distance of another detachment, such as can they work when they're in a garrison? Yes. Okay. The next thing answer. So buildings and garrisons are different. If a model that is equipped with 2 weapons with the Engine Killer X and Ren traits wins a fight, if he wins the fight, are the Engine Killer values cumulative when calculating how many wounds are suffered by the losing model affected by the Engine Killer? Oh, yes. So if you have Rend and Engine Killer, you get the Engine Killer on the Rend, on your melee. Okay. If an independent unit is forced to make a withdrawal move after being on the losing side of the combat, is the detachment core of the same detachment also required to make a withdrawal move? What? No. So, okay, so I guess, okay, independent, so the special rule, so like Ogren, so you roll for them separately. I don't know if I was paying attention to that. Can an eligible detachment using the Infiltrate special rule to deploy outside of a player's deployment zone garrison a structure when it is deployed? Yes. Well, that's probably for the best that that's the case now, because previously you could charge turn 1, and now since you can't charge, you're stuck in the open with nothing to do. Might as well hop into a building. If an Ultramarines detachment fires weapons with the light trait at a detachment that would cause hits to be discarded, do the hits still count as having been scored for the purpose of the Ultramarines interlocking tactics special rules? Yes. So you hit the shield, you hit the void shields, and the void shield says, all right, discard the shield and discard the hit. Does it still count as a hit? Yes. Are large movable elements, such as the doors and drop pods, considered to be insufficient elements for the purpose of measuring distances? No, they are sufficient elements. When models such as drop pods are set up on the battlefield, they should be set up with the movable doors in the open position. Should be, not must be. Should be. Should means that is preferred. Must means that is mandatory. So you could choose not to. For all of you that have your drop pods already built and glued the doors shut, should does not mean must. And for all you tournament organizers, pay attention to that. Should does not mean must. Don't make people break open their drop pods. If a transport is within 1 inch of a structure, can models disembark directly into that structure garrisoning in it? No. No, you have to do it on their activation. Come on, guys. That should have been obvious. All right, let's look. We got Great Slaughter and we got Rise of Dark Mechanicum. And this video has already been 33 minutes, so maybe this isn't much. Okay, the Great Slaughter doesn't have much to it. We're changing a few things. Legion Deathstorm Drop Pod Battery. Special rules. Add Orbital Assault. Legion Deathstorm Drop Pods are now have Orbital Assault. That means something. I don't remember what it means. I think it means they can do something when they land. Hold on a second. Okay, so I looked it up real quick, and Orbital Assault special rule means when models with that and drop pod, when they deploy via deep strike, they may immediately fire all of their weapons, which I'm assuming is not an Overwatch and is not a thing. I haven't looked at the Orbital. I haven't looked at their weapons in a minute, so I don't know it off the top of my head. But I think it means that it can fire at all detachments within a range of it. So it gets like a couple of hits on everybody. Makes them worth something. Makes them worth getting. Remote control detonation. Ooh. The central hole of the blast template is placed within 1 inch of the detonating model. It does no damage to itself, i.e. don't make hit rolls for the detonating model, and the template does not scatter. So now they can blow up buildings. Now they can not blow up buildings. You can either blow up the things inside the building, or you can blow up the building. I guess when you blow up the building, you'd also be hitting the things in the building, but you won't have because it's got the two different. So one weapon profile has Norse cover, and one weapon profile has Demolisher, right? So when you can demolish the building, which you didn't need to have the template inside the building to do that anyway, or you can actually hit all the people inside it. And I was okay with them saying that you couldn't do that, right? But I like this more. I like this a lot more. Oh, I'm never not taking Cyclopses. Oh my goodness. That is such a buff for them. The problem is you still have to choose which template do you want. Do you want to blow up the building, or do you want to potentially kill everything inside the building? I might try to kill everything inside of it, especially since you now can infiltrate into buildings. And they have an 18-inch range. They are, oh, that's good. That's good. I like that. If a Legion drop pod detachment or Dreadnought drop pod detachment is selected as dedicated transports, can Legion Palisade drop pods be added to that detachment? No. So you can only take them when they're not dedicated transports, when they're in an actual transport slot. Cool. Cool stuff. We got one more that we're going to look at. And we are... Yeah, because we don't need to look at the army cards. We're going to look at the Rise of the Dark Mechanicum. And this is another short page. All right. Designer's note. Collegia Titanica Army List. Change the second sentence to, in matched play missions, they suffer from a lack of objective control with a tactical strength of 0. Titans will find it difficult to capture contest objectives, which makes achieving a conventional victory difficult. In the past, that sentence said that they can't score. They can't capture or contest objectives, and they just can't do it. So whoever wrote that wasn't paying attention. They were playing too much Galaga, and they forgot the Titans actually can capture an objective. They just can't capture an objective if somebody else is on it at all. I got one guy with a las rifle standing there defiantly. He is putting in the code to take that objective with a Titan standing him down. Thalix Cohort. Replace Thalix Plasma Fusel with Multi-Melta on this data card's weapons section. So now they have removed the Thalix Plasma Fusel weapon profile. Add the following weapon profile. Hold on a second. Okay, so the Thalix Plasma Fusel was a 10-inch, one-shot, 4-up to hit, -1 light AT gun. Now they have a Multi-Melta, which is a 6-inch, 4 inches shorter than the gun you lose, 2 inches shorter than the other gun that they have. It is a 6-inch, one-shot, 4-up to hit, very nice, AP -3 and anti-tank. Spicy. So you've lost a little bit of range in your Thalix Cohort. But that range is now subsidized with, when you get closer, you're not doing as much to infantry, but you've got a 2-shot anti-infantry or light AT gun that's still going to do with -1 AP still. That's good. What the faction needed was some anti-tank and a Multi-Melta. Mind you, 6-inch gun, that's not great, but these guys are 25 points for 2, so I think you can get like 8 of them for, you get 8 of them for just 85 points, actually. So that's really good. That's a nice buff. We should have started with this. That's good. I like that. Especially, I have 3 boxes of infantry for Mechanicum. I've got 2.5 of them finished. So I like this. Memordon's Secutor Host. Add the following to this data card's weapons section. You're adding a Plasma Fusel. Memordon Plasma Fusel. They now have a new gun. Add the following weapon profile. Memordon. This is for the Secutor Host. So the Secutors, they are the melee guys. They're melee-oriented guys. And if you don't know, Secutors, they come on a base. There's 2 dudes on a base with 2 different guns. And so originally they only had the maximum bolters. 8-inch range, 2 dice, 5 up to hit, assault and light, no AP. Now they have also a Plasma Fusel, a 10-inch gun, 1 shot, 4 up to hit, -1, and it's light AT. So it's got an anti-tank, it's got a gun that can hurt tanks. It's light AT, so it doesn't do very much, and it's got a little bit more range to it. That's nice. Add the following. So you get both. You aren't selecting, you just get both. So one guy has one gun and the other guy has the other gun, and you get to shoot both of them. Nice. I like that. Myrmidon Destructor Host. Change the bullet point under weapons to Myrmidon Volkites and Conversion Beamers. So you had to pick one or the other. Now you get both. There's one guy with one gun and the other guy has the other gun, and they were choosing which one at the beginning of the game. You chose who actually you gave ammo to, and now instead they both have ammo and they're both firing both their guns. Nice. That is fantastic change. I was hoping we would get this at some point. I was really hoping we would get this at some point because it makes such a difference. And so now you got one guy that can hurt anything and the other guy's got a light gun. Nice. The only real question is what are you shooting at? Who do you decide to shoot at? Tarios Armored Conveyor Special Rules. Replace large Transport 4 with Transport 4. Oh no! You can't put any of the walkers in it. None of them. Everything's a walker. They just put Secutors and Destructors in it. That's fine. They've got, this is okay because the Mechanicum, so Mechanicum had a pretty nice run where, I still have this cough from months ago. Mechanicum had a pretty nice run where literally everything you could get could go into the conveyors, right? This is why I start my videos with today is this date, because when you go back and you look at my video where I talk about the conveyors and about how anything can go into them, you'll know it was before this came out and changed all that. Fantastic. They have the Mechanicum infantry box comes with Secutors, Destructors, Thalix, Ursurix, and Tech Thralls, right? As options. It also comes with a Tech Priest and the 2 Tech Priests and 2 Archmagos. But we're not, those are attachments, right? So you got 5 things that you can put into these transports. And that's not bad. And 4 of those things have unit sizes of 8. The Tech Thralls go up to unit sizes of 10. So you would need two transports. 2 of these transports carries pretty much everything. 3 of them gets you all your Tech Thralls and an attachment if you so choose. So this is great. These are great changes. I still have a few concerns about how a few things work that they did not specify in this. But they're minor changes and they're little things, and this is great. These are beautiful changes that they've made for us. Clarifications on some rules and a little bit of an upgrade for the Mechanicum. 3 upgrades from the Mechanicum, really, and then a slight downgrade. But you know what? It's fine because we didn't need walkers. They're walkers. It didn't make sense they were getting in there anyway. So I'm fine with that. I think they might have not realized everything that they made that was a walker. I'm sure like Castellex being in there. I mean, Castellex are still pretty big, but all those things being inside of a transport, some of them it could make sense that they fit, but some of these things were like, Autobots and they were folding up to get in there. It didn't make any sense. But I got to play at least I played 2 or 3 games where I got to put big robots into tiny transports. So cool. I had fun with this. I hope you guys had fun. I'm gonna have to what time is it? I gotta get going to work soon, so I'm gonna try to put up a bunch of these pages and see if I can get them to line up with everything, and I can get this posted real quick so you guys can see it by the time you're getting off work and everything. Because by the time I get off work, it's gonna be far too late. So as always, this has been Eagle Spire Gaming. I've been Crown. Thanks for flying by.